Hi, this is Ed. Welcome to the Outer Light channel again. Well, before I go on, I'd like to thank my patrons for your continued support over my channel. Just really helping it to keep on running and fight against this onslaught of really coordinated mainstream media attacks. What do I mean? Well, breaking news at the moment. WikiLeaks has tweeted something only a few hours ago, as a matter of fact. And that's an audio tape of Seymour Hersh discussing WikiLeaks DNC leaks and Seth Rich. Something which is quite amazing, actually. And this is, in fact, by Seymour Hersh. If you don't know who that is, it's a very established journalist going way back. Says Seymour Hersh here. He's 80 years old, winner of the Pulitzer Prize, and, goes way back to the Watergate scandal and all of that kind of things. Also was responsible for certain exposures within the Project Mockingbird and things like that in the CIA, but he's widely established, one of the most credible and famous journalists in the world. Okay, very famous. Well, he has an audio tape of him, and WikiLeaks has published this on their Twitter, which he talks about Seth Rich. But before we go into this, we really have to understand what strangeness has happened within the mainstream media before we go into all this. And the significant reply here from WikiLeaks. So how this all comes about is this. Yesterday, before I was going to sleep, I was just checking some stuff, and I seen on Reddit Conspiracy that a new Seth Rich thing was going around, but I couldn't believe the scale of it. It was every single mainstream organization was publishing the same story over and over and over again everywhere. Like this was some huge story. If you listen to the audio tapes themselves of Rod Wheeler, which will be another video, it doesn't merit a massive story like this. This is largely ridiculous. Look at these headlines. All I've typed in is Seth Rich here into Google. Seth Rich, what you need to know about discredited Fox News. Lawsuit alleges Fox News and White House concocted the Seth Rich story. On and on. GQ Magazine, CNN, Vanity Fair, Snoop's of course getting in there, State Magazine. All of them on and on and on. Just everywhere. Can you see? And all rolling out 12 to 11 hours ago across multiple different kinds of networks. So what is this really about? Well, this is prepping for something probably in response to the Imran Awan story, the DNC leaks, the DNC hacks that he did. Okay, I'm talking about him hacking into congressional equipment, storing that sensitive information on an offsite server. So this comes in reply to all of this. In my opinion, they've gone back to Seth Rich. They're trying to attack people, as in order to use as a proxy mechanism to get over to the Awan brothers, or maybe prep for something. All rolling out very quickly. Here's an example from NPR. Behind Fox News' baseless Seth Rich story, The Untold Tale, August the 1st, from NPR. So that's what happened. That's the precursor to it. So then wake up, and WikiLeaks has published this. 1st of August, audio tapes of Seymour Hersh discussing WikiLeaks DNC leaks and Seth Rich. They also published on WikiLeaks, if we go over to WikiLeaks, we can see that they also published a number of Rod Wheeler audio recordings, all of which will be placed into the comments section. So here we have more audio bits. Tape recording of private investigator Rod Wheeler discussing Seth Rich investigation. This is coming from Cassandra Fairbanks, outstanding journalist, by the way, who's an article I'll go to for that. 109,000 followers. So Cassandra Fairbanks posted this, and WikiLeaks is just really going out there and publishing that, as well as a backup there from a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist. And if you really were objective, Seymour Hersh is the most famous journalist and most wide respected journalist in the world. Well, in the Western sphere. I can't think of any other name that's so synonymous with that kind of trench coat and piece of paper and a pencil wandering around searching for stories than Seymour Hersh, who of course is a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist with the utmost credibility. So let's have a look at the actual information itself. We'll go to the Big Leagues Politics here from Cassandra Fairbanks, August the 1st, who broke this story. So props to them. Now this audio had been laying on YouTube, seemingly waiting like a mine ready for someone to stand on it since July the 11th. Okay, so it was out there and just ready for a time when it needed to be projected. And here's what you have, all found. So before we go to the audio, in the audio recording provided to Big League Politics by a source that currently wishes to remain anonymous, journalist Seymour Hersh confirms that Seth Rich had contacted WikiLeaks with sample emails of the leak. Seth Rich had contacted WikiLeaks with samples of the leak. Hersh cites an FBI document as proof of the claim. So the FBI know that Seth Rich contacted WikiLeaks. But who runs the FBI? Well, the Clinton cut out Andrew McCabe. I mean, look at this kind of situation. It's disastrous, and the control mechanisms everywhere. Donald Trump or whoever needs to fire like 10 folds down in all of these departments in order to get rid of all the assets. It really does. In order for these places to be functioning properly, to adhere to the US Constitution and all these constitutional value systems projected through the United States, and humane value systems, right? Like justice, integrity, honor, these kinds of things, they're important. Especially, just the overall Western philosophy system about how holding people accountable. There are no DNC or Podesta emails that exist beyond the 21st or the 22nd last email from either one of these groups. What the report says is that sometime in late spring, he makes contact with WikiLeaks. That in his computer, he says, anyway, they found what he had done is that he had submitted a series of documents, of emails, of juicy emails from the DNC. Seymour Hersh. So let's have a look at this audio recording. Now, a little bit of it, excellent journalist, probably, I guess, recorded clandestinely, so, but hey, you know what? This is so important. This is the most important thing ever, really. So let's have a listen to a little bit of it here. I'll just reroute the audio, 1 second. Okay, so here we're back. Let's just play this now.
There's a cyber unit there that's excellent. What you get in a warrant, the public information you get in a warrant doesn't include, it does not include the affidavit underlying why you're going in, what the reasons are. That's almost never available on. I can tell you that. The existence of a warrant is a public document 99% of the time. So they, on the same warrant, they call in the Fed. The Feds get through, and here's what they find. This is according to the FBI report. What they find is he makes first of all, you have to know some basic facts. One of the basic facts is there's no DNC or Podesta email that exists beyond May 21st, 22nd. It's the last email for either one of those groups. And so what the report says that sometime in late spring, we're talking about June, summer's in June 21st. Late spring would be after, I presume, I don't know. I just say it says late spring, early summer. He makes contact with WikiLeaks. That's in his computer, and he makes contact. Now, I have to be careful because I met Julian 10, 12 years. I stay the fuck away from people like that. And he said, invited me, and when I'm in London, I always get a message, come see me as the Ecuadorian ambassador, and there's no fucking way I'm going there. I've got enough trouble without getting photographed by every fucking age. He's under total surveillance by everybody. But anyway, they found what he had done. He had submitted a series of documents, of emails, some juicy emails from the DNC. And, by the way, all this shit about the DNC, whether hacked or wasn't hacked, but whatever happened, the Democrats themselves wrote this shit. You know what I mean? All I know is that he offered a sample, an extensive sample, I'm sure dozens of emails, and said, I want money. that later, WikiLeaks did get the password. He had a Dropbox, a protected Dropbox, which isn't hard to do. I mean, you don't have to be a wizard, IT wizard. You know, he was certainly, you know, he's not a dumb kid. They got access to the Dropbox. He also, and this is also in the FDA report, he also let people know with whom he was dealing. And I don't know how he dealt. I'll tell you about WikiLeaks in a second. I don't know how he dealt with the WikiLeaks and the mechanism, but he also, the word was passed according to the FBI report. I also shared this box with a couple of friends. So if anything happens to me, it's not going to solve your problem.
So there you have it, really. Seymour Hersh is stating upon his source, which has read the FBI report. This person has long-term embedded sources. This person's been around reporting before the Church Committee in the United States, before all of this. You know, he's got these generational kind of like sources within these established intelligence communities. Very established journalists stating there that in fact the FBI knew of this. Seth Rich, to cut it all short here, Seth Rich try a leak to WikiLeaks, or associated with the leaks of WikiLeaks. He had set up, there was a Dropbox set up. He told a number of friends about this, and you know, if anything happens to him, then that information's still out there. And that's why I think it's fair to say, and I'm speculating, I mean, I don't know WikiLeaks, okay, but I'm just speculating here, that when they seen the massive, onslaught against the Seth Rich investigation, coordinated en masse, as we've seen here, to discredit the Seth Rich hypothesis as to what happened to Seth Rich, via all of the mainstream news, all of them, GQ Magazine, CNN, Vanity Fair, Snoops, all of these places in consortium. This itself is elements of a conspiracy, because there's not really anything, there's not any real big story in any of that. If you listen to the Rod Wheeler tapes, all it just shows is Rod Wheeler really reiterating the same information we've heard from secondary sources or whatever, from WMD, WorldNet Daily, and all these things, but in his own words. We'll go into that a bit later. But here you have just trying to discredit all of this, etc. And then you have the response from WikiLeaks, really. Seymour Hersh tapes, full Rod Wheeler audio recording. So, straight away, in reply to all this. And of course, WikiLeaks, Julian Assange Julian Assange has hashtagged Seth Rich, and we do not reveal who the sources are. It's just obvious now. It's getting to the stage of obvious. And here we have Seth Rich actually discussing that. Now, Seymour Hersh. Now, if Seymour Hersh is not telling the correct information in there, why is WikiLeaks reiterating this and tweeting it? Because I think it's fair to say that WikiLeaks agrees with the core information that Seymour Hersh is putting forward. And that is, Seth Rich was the leaker. Tried to leak to WikiLeaks. You know, so it's very interesting. And we'll go into the other stuff in regards to what Rod Wheeler after this. That should be a really separate video. It really reiterates the same information there, but we'll go through that. So just a huge kind of bombshell there from WikiLeaks, also tweeting the Rod Wheeler things. A link, of course, will be into this excellent article here from Big League Politics from Cassandra Fairbanks. That will be linked in the comment section, as well as a link, of course, to this audio by Seymour Hersh. And I think you probably will want to download that and back it up, probably. Who really knows? Who really knows? But it's interesting, isn't it? This account, of course, stating to be debunking Rod Wheeler. I don't know. I mean, I'm looking into the whole Rod Wheeler thing, but he sort of reiterated the same information, so I don't really see where the story is, but I have to look into it. The first thing is, this account was created the same day as these 4 or 5 audio clips came up. Exactly on that. So this account was created for the sole reason of putting all these audio clips online, making sure to keep the link between WikiLeaks, Seth Rich out there, as reiterated by Seymour Hersh. So if WikiLeaks was he was working with WikiLeaks, then that provides enormous motive for his death. Enormous motive, okay? Enormous motive for his death. And we've seen people associated with WikiLeaks die before. I mean, look at WikiLeaks lawyer and a number of people dying under very mysterious circumstances. Go and do your own research, of course, decide for yourselves. Links will be in the comment section. So take a look at those. Go and look at the information. Come to your own conclusions about what to believe. Look into it. Listen to the whole audio. Listen to the Rod Wheeler audio as well. You can find those on Twitter, but I'll come back with another video. They're actually all on this debunking, this says debunking Rod Wheeler. I personally think that, even if a little bit of it is adjusted with Rod Wheeler, what he was doing was coming out and saying these things are in the public interest. So I'm not sure, I don't know what the name of that really, why it's named that. But maybe, let's listen to the whole thing. I listened to the Rod Wheeler audio before. So, and I think it takes a lot of courage to come out and risk a lot in order to say things. You've got to remember, Rod Wheeler, of course he's going to be connected with Fox News. These people put this like this is just a Fox News manifestation. Of course Rod Wheeler is going to be connected with Fox News in some way. He's been a long-time contributor to Fox News. And if he's breaking a story there, if he's associated with being part of a story, he's got to, there's all kinds of mechanisms within the news business, these corporate news businesses, in breaking the story. But let's step back, be objective. I'll look at the information and I'll come back in another video. In the meantime, this is Ed from The Outer Light. Stay safe. And this isn't a baseless Seth Rich story, by the way. This is a bombshell here. We have Seth, one of the most famous journalists in the world, talking about it. Pulitzer Prize winner Seymour Hersh. In the meantime, this is Ed from The Outer Light. Stay safe, and I'll see you all soon.